Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 1 of Tea With Me. Here's the way it works. I am Shane Todd, multi-award winning comedian. I've never won an award. Comedian, international comedian. I'm off to do a gig in Mayo tonight, so you know it's Mr. Worldwide. The way this works is I'm going to be with you for about an hour or so, and we're just going to have a tea. You're going to have a tea with me. In the next couple of months, I'm going to have guests on. They will be having a tea with me and you. And you might be, maybe you're a new listener. Well, you will be because it's episode 1. But you might be going, do I need to drink tea specifically to listen to this podcast? I'll be honest, yes. You know, maybe you're like, oh, can I just have a coffee instead? Maybe I'll allow it, but I would prefer. Basically, it's a way of me getting people into tea. So if you've always been a coffee person or whatever, maybe you're a hipster and you're like, man, I have to drink coffee, bro. There's no shame in just going back to a good old mug of tea. So what you do is you pour yourself a cup of tea. And I want people drinking tea in mugs. I'd like the finer the china, the better. You know, I'd like, you know, I mean, it's like Chris Brown said, it's not right, I'm not dangerous. When you're mine, I'll be generous. You're like fine china. And that does not relate to what I'm saying, but he said it. Or better yet, he sang it. So I want people to bring out fancy tea sets when they're at home. If you're in a student house listening to this, I want you guys to stop, shitting in kettles. I want you to stop stealing traffic cones and, shouting at minorities. And I want you to go to like maybe a nice antique shop, club in a bit of your student loan and get like a nice fine china set. Dan Quick, my producer. Dan, I don't even know this about you, but I don't know the answer to this question before I ask it. Do you drink tea?
I do, yes.
You do drink tea? How do you take your tea?
Medium strength with a drop of milk, no sugar.
Medium strength with a drop of milk, no sugar. Sounds like the Northern Irish James Bond. How would you like your cocktail, Mr. Bond? Who's saying about a cocktail? Do you have any tea going here? In a casino in Monte Carlo? Yes, mate. Leave the bag in, will you? Get me in a Man United cup. I love that. For anyone who is curious about, because I feel like people know I like my tea. People, it's already kind of established. Certainly in these parts anyway, people know I like going to cafes and I drink tea. And what some people might not know is I take almond milk in my tea. So strength-wise, first of all, I like a strong tea. All right, I like a strong tea, but I have almond milk now, and that is not because I'm a pretentious wanker, although I also am a pretentious wanker. And if you needed any evidence of that, you won't be able to see this because you're listening to the audio podcast. But I'm wearing a fleece that cost me £80. So that's the level we're dealing with here. Sorry, just on a side note, Colin Geddes texted me there. We're doing this gig in Mayo tonight, and he just said, "Are you going to this boxing class tonight?" The coach was asking if the Belfast lads were coming and had gum shields. Hey, definitely not my thing. All right, not my thing whatsoever. So no, I won't be doing that. But yeah, I have almond milk in my tea. I have done so for maybe, I think it's about 4 years now, because I've got that old Crohn's disease. So dairy is not good for me. So maybe we'll do like a proper episode about that in the future. But yeah, I take my tea pretty strong, and I'm drinking out of a very, how would you describe that? Like a cup in your granny's house?
Yeah, it's an old person's cup.
It's an old person's cup, and yes, I took it from a fold. I took it from a nursing home on the way here. Yeah, it's an old cup. I like it because it's got like a handle you can really get into. It's got that little bit on the bottom that also, it's almost like it got a built-in saucer. You know, so yeah, if you want to have a cup of tea in future, I'd like you to have it ready before the podcast, and then what you do is you sit down and you listen to this podcast. It's going to come out every Wednesday, and you maybe are thinking, where do I listen to the podcast? In the bath. You can listen to it by a riverside. You can book a hotel room and take your uncle, and the two of you just use the tea making facilities in that hotel. Get into the 2 separate beds and just listen to this podcast. Some people might say, hey man, is this just the Shane Toddcast, but you've added this tea gimmick to it? Yes. Yes, it is. And I'm okay with that. And yeah, we're going to have guests on, so it'll be a video podcast as well, but we're just sort of going in lubeless for the first, and that made Dan sort of open his eyes a lot there. We're going in lubeless for the first episode, and then we're gonna have video and like a wee bit of a set, and it's gonna be lovely. I feel like I'm gonna bring tea back because I think tea's definitely on the way out. It's definitely on the way out. But hold on, let me take a little sip. So I've been away. The way this podcast works, by the way, is we're just going to ramble. We're just going to have a chat because that's what you do with a nice cup of tea. I mean, tea's the ultimate number one thing that just brings people together. Like, I don't know if anyone's seen this, but they're literally bringing the peace walls down in Belfast this week. And I'm not making that up. They're lowering the peace walls, which is great, but at the same time shows you that there's still a divide when you're just lowering the peace walls. When you're like, hey, these walls used to be 80 feet and now they're 65. Still they are dividing people based on a subcategory of religion. And that is lame. And I want to say to anyone who's like sectarian or whatever, you're lame. And if you want me to say it to your face, I won't. I will not say that. I'll just start bigging up whatever side you're on, basically. So yeah, the peace walls have come down a bit, and that's the thing. I feel like that is something that can be sorted over a cup of tea. I feel like tea brings people together. When somebody dies, what's the first thing everybody does? We'll get a drop of tea here. It makes you feel, when you feel your 11 plus, a wee cup of tea. Now, I didn't fail my 11 plus, by the way. I got a C1 in my 11 plus, which I made the mistake of saying to one of my aunties. By the way, the 11 plus, if you're one of my listeners in like the Democratic Republic of Congo or Yemen or Leeds, the 11 plus is an exam you had to take as a child to see how smart you are. And they were not like they were forthcoming about letting you know when you were 11 years old, are you smart or an idiot? And we separated the wheat from the chaff. And yeah, I got a C1. But I said to my auntie, like the week before the 11 plus, I said, Auntie Carol, whenever I get an A in my 11 plus, will I be the first one in the family to get an A? And she's like, I hope you don't get an A in your 11 plus, which is totally fair, and I didn't. But what was I talking about? Oh, the peace wall's coming down. Oh yeah, I mean, look, if I can assist that in any way, I would like to be to the peace walls coming down what David Hasselhoff was to the Berlin Wall falling. I want to be there. I want to kick the last wall down. I mean, I might just do it anyway, because I feel like let's throw people into the deep end. Let's just remove the wall and be like, you're his mate now. Because the wall is kind of a tourist thing as well. If you don't know, Belfast is divided by a load of peace walls, because Protestants and Jews don't get on. So there's been a lot of scraps in the past, but I feel like the peace walls now are just for the bus tours. They're just for tourists to take photos, and it's a way of getting money into Belfast. Like, what tourists don't know is at night the peace walls come up like a garage door. They're temporary, basically. They lift up, and then like the hard lads from the Shankill and the hard lads from the Falls, every night they bring the peace walls up under the cover of darkness, and then there's no way of saying this, they suck each other's dicks, really, and that's something that a lot of people don't know, but they do that. There's definitely glory holes along the peace wall. You just gotta look carefully. But yeah, I was in New York and I had a really nice time. I was over there doing some gigs. I was doing some meetings. The first half of my trip, I took my dad over for just a bit of a tourist experience. He's never been to New York before, and we went to see Jersey Boys on Broadway. Now, here's the thing. I love Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. I love Jersey Boys. I listened to the Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. I listened to the Jersey Boys Broadway recordings. I've seen the film. I've been to see the play when it was on in the Opera House. And it wasn't really like, when it comes to the Opera House in Belfast, it's not really Jersey Boys. It's like Jersey lads. You know what I mean? It's like four guys from mid-Ulster who like vaguely know a few of the songs. You know, big dolls don't gurn. You know, it's not the same. They don't have the license for the songs, but it's still kind of good. Frankie Valli and the Four Uncles. You know, it's not the same, but it's still good. But on Broadway, it was great. I went into that musical genuinely thinking, because I say I can't really sing, but at the same time, everyone knows I probably have a bit. You know, I've got a tune, and I went into that thinking I could be Frankie Valli. Like that's what I always thought. I was like, if I ever did a musical, I think I could do Jersey Boys, and I think I could probably play the role of Frankie Valli. And then whenever he started singing, the actor that played him on Broadway, I very quickly realised I could not play Frankie Valli on Broadway. I don't even know if I could have worked in their tuck shop because that guy could sing. I mean, going into it, this is the level of Frankie Valli that I have, right? And I think this is pretty good. Here we go. Sherry baby. So I went in with that, and then he started doing it a wee bit better, and I was like, nah, Broadway might not be the place for me. But it was great. Broadway musicals are class. I feel like I could really get into it. And then, so my dad was there for 3 days, and then I stayed on for 4 days to work. But then I thought, imagine I just went to a Broadway musical every day. And then I thought, hey, if I did that, people might start asking questions. You know, if you're like just every day going to Broadway. But it was a good trip. Thanks to everyone who, you know, gave a wee thumbs up to my video, DUP Man in New York. I just sort of was inspired to do that. And I was like, what am I going to do to film it? And then I was like, why don't I just be so dodgy and go to Best Buy, which is like a big department shop, buy a GoPro and a tripod, like a wee handheld tripod, film a video and then return it. And that's exactly what I did. And I don't know if that's illegal at NYPD, but I fucking did it, and I give less of one fuck. Honestly, like, I was a wee bit sexually aroused buying the GoPro, because I was like, you don't even know what I'm going to do with this, you know? And I think sometimes I like overdo it, like, because that's like a web of lies. And I think I even said to the guy selling me it, I was like, just getting this for, we're making a wee holiday video with the kids, you know? I don't even have kids. But I just felt like that added something to it for me. And I went round shooting that video, talking in the sort of DUP style. And I'm not saying everyone in the DUP speaks like that, but 99% of them do, even the women. So yeah, shot that video, edited it. And edited it is something I've never been able to say, but I sort of cut it in the Uber on the way to the airport, and then uploaded it when I was in the airport. And look, people seem to like it, apart from hardline Protestants who do not like it. A couple of people are like, I remember you used to be funny. And then you're like, don't worry, we'll do a Sinn Féin thing too. You know what I mean? We'll do like a hidden camera prank on Jerry Adams. It'll be absolutely fine. So yeah, New York was good. Did some shows, did some stand up. It was great to see. Kind of great to see how their stand up scene works, and what works over there and what doesn't, because I like to sort of perform when I'm on stage. Like, I get a wee bit animated, I can get a bit physical, you know. I'll give a guy in the front row a hickey. I'll move about and I'll be animated. But it definitely seemed like over there people were more laid back. Like, comedians would perform with their hands in their pockets, and that's something I'd never really seen before. So I sort of changed my style a wee bit when I was there, and I think I'll just keep trying that. It's just interesting to see, because you kind of do the same gigs all the time here with the same people, and it's great. But at the same time, it's nice to see new faces, new comedians, see what people are doing, and then just copy it. You know, just do that basically. So no, it was good. And also, this accent, it gets you so much out there. Like, people before you've said a joke are already laughing, you know, which in a way is racist. You know, it's racism in a way, but I'm happy enough to sort of ride that. So I was doing gigs in the Stand Comedy Club with some of my favourite comedians, but like, they wouldn't be that well known here. and it was class. Ended up getting into a conversation about Snow Patrol for around 4 hours, and that was great with the owner of the club, who I just really hit it off with, and I feel like on this trip I hit it off with a lot of people, and that's weird for me because I a lot of the time think that people do not like me. I find it hard when I go to like meetings and stuff, I feel like I don't really hit it off with people. But for some reason, when I was in New York, I felt like people. I mean, it's probably because I was doing a lot of Frankie Valli singing when I walked in. But I don't know. I just think I met some nice people, and you never know what can happen as a result. So let's just say seeds may have been planted. Okay, so we might have to go back to America every couple of months and keep watering it. And I don't know what that means, but look, it was a good trip. Trying to think that anything else funny happened to me when I was away. Oh yeah, so we were doing a sound check for this podcast, me and Dan, before we started recording, and I always, for a sound check, people go, "Tell me what you had for breakfast," and I was mentioning what I have for breakfast, and a key component of my breakfast is almond butter. It's essential to my breakfast. So I went to Holland Bar before I went away and bought maybe like 10 sachets of almond butter, and it's not until I took one into a diner and the waiter caught me opening one of my sachets and squeezing it out over my oatmeal that I thought, this is kind of like, in a way, perverted, and it's weird, and there's something a wee bit pedo about it, and I don't know what I mean by that, but the waiter looked at me like, why do you have your own little almond butters? And I don't know, I need it. I feel like I have an addiction to almond butter, and there's worse things you could be addicted to, but a nice time. I just always need to know that my breakfast is okay. I'm not one of these people who can just go with it. You know, when you stay in like a weird place you've never been before, like I'm going to a B&B tonight in County Mayo with Colin Geddes, which sounds like the start of a horror film, but I know for a fact that in the morning, I know it'll be two old people that own the B&B, because it always is. And the last B&B I went to, they had a 3-legged dog. So I thought it was kind of weird. I mean, it was. Nothing against the dog. I just, fair play to it, the way I was getting about. But I feel like at this B&B, they're going to have a lovely cooked breakfast laid out in the morning. Continental breakfast. People go nuts for people from Northern Ireland go fucking nuts for a continental breakfast, because we don't get to go to like nice places, and we seem to think a continental breakfast is as good as it gets. Oh, why? It's a continental breakfast. They do apples. You know, broaden your horizons. You know, it's just a continental breakfast. It's usually just some baps and orange juice. But I know that when I go here, they're going to have a nice cooked breakfast set out, and they're going to tell me about the fact that these sausages are sourced locally, and it's, you know, Irish beef in their, you know, stew that they've made, and there's going to be like organic cereals, and I know they're going to be a lovely couple, and there's going to be a voice in my head going, do you have almond butter? Can you leave so that I can strangle out my own little sachet of almond butter onto this porridge? And I make no bones for it. Like, it's sort of, I like get roasted by other comedians about it. Like whenever we were down in Galway for the Galway Comedy Festival, me and Mickey Bartlett, Colin Geddes, we go into a burger place. I said, hi, did you have any gluten-free burger buns? They said no. And I was like, right guys, I'll be back in a bit. And I ran to another restaurant. I walked in. This is how quickly I can lie. I walked in and I said, hello. Now, I should just say, do you have a gluten-free bap I could have, or I could buy off you? But I always feel the need, like going in to buy the GoPro, to add this element to it that it doesn't need. I need a GoPro to document the family trip. I wasn't on a family trip. I walked into this burger place in Galway that I'd never been to before, and I said, hi, yeah, I'm staying in an Airbnb down the road with some Italian people. Now, what was the need to specify their nationality? I said, we're having like we're making burgers, but there's no buns, and I'm celiac. is there any way I could buy a gluten-free bab? And the guy's like, yeah, sure. Then he said, are you over on some sort of exchange program? And I said, yes. And he gave me the gluten-free bab. Now, here's the fucked up thing. He would have given me it anyway. 1,000% would have given me it. Why did I need to add that element to it? And here's another thing. When I promise this is true, because this is what we do on Tea With Me. We just be honest. We have open conversations. We're curious. We're bi-curious. We're transsexual. We're whatever we need to be at that time. And when I was bringing the GoPro back, now, I was under pressure. I needed to get to the airport. I should have walked in with the GoPro on receipt because I repackaged it when I bought it. I put the wee sticker back onto it. And I should have walked back in there and said, because they don't give a fuck. I should have said, hiya, can I return this GoPro, please? What I said was, hello, can I return this GoPro, please? I had to buy one for my boss, but someone in the office bought him one. What? I said, oh, sorry, my boss needed a GoPro, but, like, what boss needs a GoPro? I was like, but someone else in the office had gone out to buy him one, so I'm returning this. And the guy, just making conversation as he was processing my thing, went, where do you work? And I said, farming. It's Manhattan. No one in Manhattan is farming. It doesn't exist. I don't know why I need to feel the need to always add this bit on, but I don't know. There's something that makes it enjoyable for me. It's a bit like whenever I was taking some DVDs back to Extravision in the 1920s. And remember Extravision? And the guy, this is Extravision in Hollywood, right? In the town I live, in the town where we are right now. I took them up to the counter, but I had rented them I was renting DVDs, but I didn't have an Extravision account at the time. But my best mate Stevie did have. He also lives in Hollywood. He's my kind of age. At the time, I was going out with Stevie's sister. So I was down in their family house. I said, I'll go and get some DVDs. I'll come back down. I go into the Extravision shop in my hometown, get up to the counter, put the 2 DVDs up, give the guy the card. He looks at it. He's like a couple of years older than me. And he goes, this Stevie Horn, right? Which is my friend's name. I said, yeah. And he goes, I went to school with Stevie. And I said, all right, I'm his brother. And he said, no. So I was maybe like 19 at the time, 18 or so, I don't know. So I was 18. Stevie's brother Shay at the time would have been, I don't know, 12, 13. He goes, now, bear in mind, at this point, this guy doesn't own Extravision. This guy's getting nothing out. It's not like the Hatton fucking diamond heist. No one's getting away. It's not the Northern Bank robbery. I'm renting Flubber 2 and the Nutty Professor. You know? But he looks at me and he goes, it's Shay. And he knows Stevie's brother's name. And he goes, is Shay not like 12 or 13? And I say, no, it's me. And he knows it's not. He knows I borrowed my mate's card. Why wouldn't I just say to him, sorry mate, yeah, I'm just borrowing Stevie's card. I go out with his sister. But I had to lie about it. I think it's maybe like the actor in me, the performer. Another example, Hollywood High Street, about 1993, whenever I was a 5-year-old man. And the Coca-Cola, it was May Day. And basically on the 1st of May, this is a fun fact, but on the 1st of May, Hollywood has this thing called May Day, and we go nuts for it. I can't describe it. I don't know why we do it. Were you aware of this, Dan? Right. I don't know what it is, but we do this like festival. The whole high street shuts down, and there's stalls, there's games, there's all kinds of stuff, and people dance around the maypole like some sort of weird satanic ritual. And then we sacrifice a virgin. We don't. But yeah, there's like a May Queen and King and stuff. It's really weird. But I don't know. But people love it. You can win goldfish and stuff, you know what I mean? You throw darts at goldfish. I don't know what the crack is. But Coca-Cola were giving away free cans of Coke. Now, it's not like... It doesn't... People don't go as mental for May Day anymore. Like the mid-90s was the peak. Nowadays, it's like Vitsaid might give away 4 bottles of their bubblegum flavoured drink. But back in the day, Coca-Cola were on board. And these like promo girls were giving out a can of Coke to every like kid who came over. Can I have a can of Coke? Everyone's queuing up. It was great. And I joined the queue. I got a can of Coke. And then I always want more of something. So I'm like, I'm not entitled, but I always want more kind of than somebody else. I like to have things. So like if we left here today and they were giving out a free car, I would be already trying to figure out a way where I could get 10 cars. Does that make sense? I get kind of greedy as long as it's not to the detriment of somebody else. So I'm like, if they have loads of cans of Coke, I want them and I don't want any other children to have them. So I go up, I get my can of Coke, and I should be content with my can of Coke. Thank you. Take my can of Coke, drink it. I go back. Hello. The girl goes, oh, sorry, it's one can of Coke per child. I go, oh, okay. Then I go change jumpers with my friend Chris Jemison. And I go back with some sort of like, I don't know, orange Lecoq Sportif sweater on, but still my face and head. And I say, hello. And the girl goes, oh, sorry, it's one can of Coke per child. Remember I just said to you? And I say, I'm my brother. Now, there's fundamental flaws in what I said there. I am my brother. What happened was she just looked at me and went, it's okay, you can have another can of Coke. Like she must have thought, there's a little boy who needs a can of Coke. If he's willing to go to, if he doesn't have the 15p, because that's how much Coke was back then, needed to get a can of Coke, I will give him a free can of Coke. I think it comes from my granda. Like my granda was a character, you know. I remember hearing once, it's genuinely true, my granda like owed money to like a bank or something. He'd taken a loan and he was getting the bus home from the shipyard from work, and this like guy from the bank was following him to his house. And my granda got off the bus and he noticed this guy in a suit was like 20 paces behind him. So my granda walked past his own house and walked on into Hollywood for like a mile, and the guy eventually caught up with him. He's like, Mr. Todd, you owe us some money. And my granda said, I'm his twin. And the guy went, okay, and left. We're halfway through the podcast. Let me just really quickly give you a message from our sponsor. Tea With Me is sponsored by Limelight Belfast, the most famous venue for live music and club nights in the country. Coming up, they've got Sagala, Example, Gabrielle Applin. At first, I thought that was just Gabrielle from 90s fame, who just, she used to have like a comb over, and it always used to hide one eye. And people back in the day were like, you know, that's because she's missing an eye. I don't know what the crack was, but could you find out while I read this message out? Did the singer Gabrielle only have one eye? Cheers. But it's not. It's Gabrielle Applin. By the way, that wasn't in this sponsor message. I've just said that. Magnum, Inhaler, JC Stewart, plus many more with student-friendly club nights 5 nights a week. See limelightbelfast.com and Limelight Belfast on Facebook for full listings and info. So cheers to Limelight for sponsoring Tea With Me. By the JC Stewart's doing a gig there. If you don't know JC Stewart, I think he just supported Lewis Capaldi on his tour. He's a local singer-songwriter. Very sexy. Friend. Confidant. Artist. But I think he's going to come and do one of these. I've been chatting to him. I said, will you come on the podcast? He said, are you ever in London? I said, I'm not, man. But next time you're home, come do a podcast. Because he's from here and he's really good. And he has a song called The Wrong Ones that I really like. And sometimes I listen to it in my car. But yeah, check out the Limelight. Thanks again for them to doing that. Dan, any word on Gabrielle?
Apparently she has 2 eyes.
Gabrielle has 2 eyes, so just to let everyone know, Gabrielle, who sang Out of Reach, remember that song? Yeah. Out of Reach. Or in the style of Frankie Valli. Out of Reach. You're welcome. Welcome back to the second half of Tea With Me. That's the first half of episode 1 done. I am excited. Dan is visibly aroused, and it's all good. And I'm sitting down to my second cup of tea, and there's a lot of people go a bit like, mate, you can't go swimming an hour after your dinner. You can't have a second cup of tea within the space of half an hour. I don't give a quote me on this, right? Quote me. Come closer to the podcast. I don't give a fiddlers. All right, I'll drink as much tea as I want. In a day, I've definitely drunk 12 cups of tea before, and that's insane. But that is just the way we do it. And I started drinking tea. Fun fact, side fact, because my granny used to leave me a bit of her tea back in the day, and this was back in the day when your granny had 17 sugars in her tea, and it was cold, and I would drink a bit of it, and it wasn't until I was about 12 I realised people have tea hot, and that only added to it. It only added to it. R.I.P. my granny. Shout out on tea with me, which is what she always wanted. We got some questions here. I love it. First question, tea related, which I like. Don't feel the questions have to be tea related, but if you want to make them tea related, nobody's going to be mad at you. Des Bennett says, how many sugars? I started on 2. I think a lot of people do. That's like entry level. People are going to take 2 sugars with their tea. Dan, you take sugar with tea? None? Exactly. Bareback tea. That's the best way to do it. I used to have 2 sugars in my tea. Then I had 1. Then I took Canderel, which was a wee tablet sweetener. My dad was like, here, take a wee Canderel. I take a wee Canderel. And then it came out, I think, in the Daily Mail. People are like, Canderel, gives you brain cancer, or I don't know what it is, but like, it gives you something. Basically, it's not good. It's a sweetener. So now I just don't have sugar. And I don't think I like the idea of sugar in tea. I don't even think I could drink it anymore. But yeah, no sugars. I know people who still have quite a lot. Like, it's not socially acceptable anymore. I feel like it's taboo when someone says, like, give us 3 sugars. It's the same way as if someone was like, I'm going to do blackface at Halloween. You're like, fair enough, whatever you're into is what you're into, but I would advise you not to, because there will be repercussions from that. In the case of blackface, you're going to be cancelled. In the case of 3 sugars, your bloody teeth are going to fall out. You clamp it. So yeah, Des, I'm a no sugar guy. I don't really have sugar in general, but yeah, no sugar when it comes to tea. I'm a purist. Adam McAvoy says, best takeaway in what day is best to eat it? I mean, it's a weird question. There's no best day to eat a takeaway. I guess a lot of people will go Friday or Saturday night for a takeaway. I'm not really a takeaway guy. Here's the thing. I like a chippy. And I have been in many fine dining experiences as of late because my career is going well, and I have been thinking about the local chippy and going, when you actually balance these up, good chips, like a good fish supper with salt and vinegar and red sauce, gives me more pleasure than this, in inverted commas, tasting menu. And I'm just going to throw this out there. I went to a place in Belfast that rhymes with the Cuddlers Club. Now, also the Cuddlers Club probably is a place. Alright, it's in the basement of Kremlin. And this place is renowned for being phenomenal. I think it has a Michelin star. So clearly, people love it. Clearly, it's amazing. But when I went there, you basically get like 6 or 7 courses. And they're like small portions. And I thought it was all extremely well cooked. I loved the experience of it. I was like, I've never done this before, like wee portions. And again, there's part of me, it's like, give me a big massive portion because someone's going to nick this. I don't know. I don't know if I liked seeing it, and I like being part of it. And I like going out, and it was nice. But at the same time, if you offered me a fish supper in the back of a Fiat Punto every day of the week. But the best takeaway for me, so fun fact, the chippy near me in Balnahinch does a steamed fish supper. So you don't have the fish isn't fried, it's not in batter, it's just a nice white bit of cod that's steamed and chips. Now, Dan is looking at me in this studio like I'm Satan himself, Because I get that that's going to offend a lot of people. There'll be a lot of people outraged on Twitter here. You fucking no, mate, you need batter in the fish. You need it. You know, cancel culture's going to be after me. But I don't know if you need that batter. And I just think, I love batter on fish. But at the same time, if you're looking to just be a wee bit healthier, you get that steamed fish. Comes in a bit of tin foil. I like it. I like it. And the best day to eat, Saturday after football. I like a takeaway. Saturday night. Oh I, Saturday night. I love people like that. Like in the chippy I go to, which I'm just going to throw it out there. It's called Chips Ahoy. There you go. Bit of free advertising there, response to the podcast. Whenever I was in last time, some guy recognised me, and I was just in the queue, right? And it's very obvious why I'm there. If I'm in a chippy queuing, I'm not there to talk about, you know, the full works of Craig David. I'm not there to buy a bicycle. I'm very much waiting for something off their menu. And this guy recognised me, saw me, and he goes, "All right, Shane, big lord, getting a wee chippy, are ya?" And I said to him, "Yes, that's what we're all doing here." And he goes, "Happy days." Love characters like that. Also, when people... There's nothing I like more than asking a question that you already know the answer to, but someone answers it like they didn't know that you knew the answer to it. Going through customs, right? When people have bottles of water, how do they not know that you can't take those through anymore? That's just a thing. It amazes me that people like my kind of age, who should know what traveling's all about a bit, don't go, "Oh yeah, you can't have it, no liquids." And they go, "No liquids." And everyone's like, "Oh." And there's always some guy with a fucking 2 litre of fruit shoot scratching his head. Can you not take liquids through? No. Why not? 9/11. But how does that work? I don't know. But you're basically not allowed to bring that tin of lilt through. But there was this guy in JFK trying to board his flight, going through customs in front of me, and he was genuinely like my age. He had like a real traveller's backpack. He looked like he'd been places. And he was there with his girlfriend. And I swear to God, he came back from the line. So I'm maybe like 20 people back in the customs line. He walks back to the bins, shaking his head with, I swear to God, 8 bottles of water. 8. Like, not a bottle of water. Several unopened bottles of water that he had bought for the airport. Now, I see his logic in a way because they double the price of everything at the airport. But there was 8 bottles. And he looked at me because I was looking at him. I look at people like I was looking at him the whole time. Just trying to get an explanation, like with my head slightly tilted. Trying to get an understanding of what his thought process was. And he was unloading this fucking reservoir into the airport bin. And I locked eye contact with him in the hope that he would look at me so I could ask him one question. And I swear to God, he turned round. He was shaking his head. I locked eyes with him because I was queuing near the bin. And I swear to God, he looked at me and he shook his head and he puffed out. And I said, "That's a lot of water." And he went, "Yeah, I'm not allowed to bring it through." And I said, "What were you trying to bring it all through for?" And he said, "To drink it." Oh, and I said, "All right, cheers." You know, what did he think I thought he might be bringing it through for? Here, just in case the windscreen is frosted, and then maybe he could pour it over, and then the pilot could do his windscreen wipers. Absolutely beyond mental. Beyond mental. But yeah, to answer your question, Saturday night's the best night for a chippy. Sometimes a Friday's okay. You know, you finish work, you know, on your way home, a chip, you can't really go wrong. I used to be in the Chinese back in the day, before the coronavirus. No, I don't mean that. But I don't know. I'm worried about MSG, and I don't know what it is. But people are like, here, they put MSG in that, and I don't know what it is. But I just think, let's not have it. I don't know. But yeah, I always used to get like salt and chili chicken, sweet and sour chicken, honey chili chicken. But hey, it's all the same. 99% of dishes that you get from our local Chinese restaurants are just the same sauce. It's sugar sauce and meat, you know. And then I found out that in China they don't eat any of that stuff. They don't eat any of that. All their stuff are like pickled, salted, dry. You know, like they're not doing honey chili chicken over there and half. People are acting like they could go over to China and just continue their diet. They don't do half and half. All right, going into like a nice Chinese restaurant, you know, in the middle of a Chinese city, which I don't know any, but people imagine they're going to go, all right, mate, could I get chicken balls and a curry half and half and a bottle of Tizer? They're not going to know what you're saying. Jamie Gordon says, what role do you think you'd be best suited for in a paramilitary organisation? Great question. Masseuse. I don't know if they have a masseuse, but yeah, I don't think I'd be out on the front line because also I've got a memorable face. So even if I wasn't me, I would still have this face, and I think a lot of I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble here, right? I don't want to offend any paramilitary guys, but but someone has to say this, right? A lot, and I'm only basing this on what I see in the Sunday World and the Sunday Life, the pictures. A lot of guys in paramilitaries in Northern Ireland are stinking. They're like a lot of them are rotten, face wise and morals wise, you know, and like you get the odd complete cutie, like, hello, does anyone remember Andre Chikre? Oh shit, oh that guy. What was it? Everyone was like well into him for a while. I don't know what his deal was, but I just remember they were like, he's like half Egyptian. I was like, let me see what this guy's all about. Flick the page 15 of the Sunday World. I was like, uh-oh, boner. But, you know, that's so bad. Sorry, no. I'm just saying he was very. I'm just saying. I'm making a political point that most of the guys in paramilitaries, bogging, munters, but there is the very odd guy who you're like, hey, I don't agree with what he's doing, but at the same time, you know, let's have some more pics of him in this paper. And hey, would I be wrong in suggesting calendar special next week? Let's get the paramilitary babes calendar funded, and can we please give the money to peace projects? That's all I'm saying. I'm floating that out there. Let's get some of the top guys, you know, just a balaclava over their doingers, and let's just make that happen. Let's get a cross community one where you get the top IRA, the top sexy IRA guys, the top sexy UVF guys, and let's get them naked together, because that's what we want to see. We want to see them together. Let's get them in a sauna, and let's just be open to seeing what happens. Hands across the divide, legs across the divide. You know, let's just see what happens. Yeah, I think I'd be best suited to like masseuse because I look like this, like, yeah, like kind of cute or whatever. If I was involved in like a robbery, like stealing an ATM, people would remember my face. They would go, the police would go, what did they look like? And then some guy would be like, oh, well, I can't remember. Like they all kind of look the same, bar this one guy who looked like some sort of attractive female Russian power athlete. You know, they'd be like, there was this one guy, and like, oh, what the fuck? I was looking for flaws in his skin, but I couldn't find it. You know, the descriptions wouldn't be the normal descriptions. Oh my god, his hairline's so strong, and he's like almost olive, you know, but he's from here. So I feel like I couldn't be a frontline guy. Maybe like an admin role, or like, yeah, masseuse. Maybe I could just do that. Like, be like, oh my god, your hands must be so tense from all the shooting and all. And then I would hand massage them with like some sort of ginger and lemon oil, something like that. I don't know. I would see what roles they had going, and then I would probably do that. Or maybe I can make the tea, because one thing all the paramilitaries have in common here, hey, after a long night of shooting people, they're probably like a mug of tea. Dave Wiggins, how do you like your tea? Milk first or bag first? Hey man, always bag first. Yeah, definitely bag first. You put the tea bag in, you put the boiling water in. Then I'm 50-50. Sometimes I'll just dunk the tea bag like 15 times, wring it out in the side, then put the milk in. Or sometimes, and Dan's shaking his head here, I'll put the tea bag in, the hot water in, and then the milk in. But it's hard to judge sometimes what you're going to have at the end if you put the milk in at the start. Because I like the idea of tea bag out, I know how strong my tea is going to be, and then I can stir the milk in and stop whenever I'm like, bingo. But do you feel, Dan, like you have some sort of Jedi sense of you know how much milk to put in?
Yeah, and when you get it right with the milk, the tea bag, and the water, it's
Well, yes, there's more glory in getting it right all at once, because even if I do it, I'm like, yeah, well, I kind of cheated in a way because I took tea bag out first. But then again, there's nothing more embarrassing than, even if you're in the house by yourself, the walk back to the fridge. I need more milk. Or someone goes, is the cow dead? And you're like, no, let me go and get some more milk. Like, none of us want to add more milk. The barrack boy himself, Cormac McDermott, says, red or brown sauce on the fry. Also, what is in the fry? Name your bread. The people deserve to know. So we're talking about food now as well. That kind of does divide opinion in this part of the world. Red or brown sauce on a fry. And I'm going to shock a lot of people. I want people to sit down. I want you to put your tea on the coaster. I want you to relax. But let me just say this. Both. Red and brown sauce. Now, I'm not a fucking maniac. I don't mix them in some, because if you mix red and brown sauce, you get sent to hell. No, you get barbecue sauce. I will go red sauce for my sausages, and the sausages do not interact with anything else on the plate. Everything else though gets on the same fork and goes in my mouth at the same time, like
beans.
Beans, yeah. So here's my fry: baked beans, 2 sausages, 2 bits of bacon. Then I don't need eggs anymore. It would have been like 2 fried eggs, but now I will just have, like, I guess I just really have to have gluten-free toast now. So it's not as big a fry as it was, but it means I'm open to a bowl of porridge beforehand or whatever. But the baked beans, the sausage, the baked beans, the bacon, and the toast will have brown sauce on it, and they'll be mixed together. But the sausages will be eaten separately at intermittent intervals. It's bold, no one's denying that, but you know, that's just what I do. Hard to find a good fry now these days, I think. I just think in this day and age, I just think those sort of cafes, those greasy spoon cafes, are kind of maybe dying out a bit. You know, if you go to meet someone for lunch or whatever, they want to go to the fancy places.
Avocado on toast.
Avocado on toast, which I love. Like, I love all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, once every other week, get me a big fry. Get me a big fry, love, will you? And that's the only time you can say love in 2020 is when you're ordering a fry. Even if it's a guy serving you, you can definitely say, I'll take the full breakfast, love. You know, it's almost rude if you don't. So yeah, I'm all about well, they call me Two Sauce in the rap world anyway. Maddie Keane, some questions on Instagram. Maddie Keane says, will my subscription to the Shane Toddcast automatically subscribe me to this new podcast? Now, Dan, that's a question for you, because I don't know the answer to that. So, on my SoundCloud, do we just wipe the Shane Toddcast episodes, or do we keep them there and just add these in as a new?
We'll keep them there and add to it.
We'll keep them there and add to it, but we rebrand the page? Yes, okay. So, your subscription stays where it is.
Wherever you're subscribed from.
Wherever you're subscribed from. Peru, Magabri, Fritzl's basement. It doesn't matter. Your subscription keeps going. He says, I do realise that if it doesn't, then I won't automatically be fed this podcast. I may never hear this question answered, but it's a risk I'm willing to take. Good man, Matty. You're putting your balls on the line there, and we've come up trumps. You're still going to be able to hear this. Okay, so I hope you're enjoying it, man. Thanks for that. Thanks for your concern. Lee Robinson with 3 N's, says, player, says, any more previously coming up? So, previously was a TV show I did for BBC Northern Ireland, and it went out like 4 months ago, maybe. I don't know. I've no concept of time. I'm like a little boy during the summer holidays in between school. I don't know what day it is. I don't know what month it is. I don't know who my real dad is. You know? So I don't know when that went out. But that was basically where I went through old archive footage, sort of took the piss out of it a wee bit in front of a live audience, and the answer to that question is I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think they're going to do any more of it. I would definitely like to. It was fun, or maybe I can look at a way of making it like an online thing or something. But it was definitely enjoyable. Like, we had the idea for it. Mark, the producer of it, was like, why don't we just do one? So we I think we almost like funded it ourselves, and we put on like a real rough version of it in the Accidental Theatre. An audience came along. It was like a stand-up gig. It was like, this is great, this really works. Then we sent that footage to the BBC. They said, let's do an episode of it, see how it goes. And I think the feedback I got was that the viewing figures for it weren't great, which I guess is always going to be difficult if someone's never been on before to kind of launch it when there's only one episode of it. But and it was like, yeah, there wasn't any promo for it in terms of like TV ads or anything, so it was hard to like let people know it was on. But I was really happy with it. Like, I think it was good. I still get the odd sort of comment about it and people asking what the crack is, and the answer is, I do not know, but I would like to do more of it. And if it's not going to be with BBC, maybe I can work out a way to do it some other way. Matthew Mernon says, does your dad's mate have any updates on the MOT debacle? Hope your new Chariot is treating you well. So, yeah, I don't know if people know that. I came back from New York, and out there, by the way, when you look at the news, it's all about Trump's impeachment. It's one of the biggest news stories of the decade, probably. And like, people are like, is the president going to be kicked out? And the Senate are involved. And I looked at like the top stories back home. There's going to be no MOT for 4 months, so because the waiting list is too big. So if you have an MOT booked for your car, don't be showing up and all. That was the big number one story. I don't know what the crack with that is. I also don't know if you have a car that needs an MOT. Is it like you're sweet?
Yeah, for 4 months.
You're sweet for 4 months.
Mine's due on Friday.
So you're directly affected by this. Oh, does it give you a sense of fear or excitement that you're driving about in a car that might not necessarily pass safety?
Mixture of both.
A mixture of both, yeah. I mean, if you die, I think your family could get like a sweet claim. Because they'd be like, he wanted to take it to the MOT, but it was their fuck up. Yeah, it was booked. Oh shit. I think people are just going to get a load of bangers out that they used to have. Like maybe an old Nova they kept in the garage and be like, fuck it, let's just do donuts in front of Stormont. My new Chariot is treating me well. Yeah, guys, I got a new car. No big deal. Playa, cha-ching. Say new car. It had several previous owners. But it's new to me anyway. And what isn't new is the smell of smoke inside it. I didn't know this, but it must have been a smoker's car. Because anyone who's got in it went, this was definitely a smoker's car. But I can't smell it. Weird. But I guess smokers will know the smell of smoke better. Well, they're probably more sensitive to it.
So I would say non-smokers would be more sensitive.
Maybe. Remember you used to go out drinking in bars and you used to come back and your clothes smelled the smoke?
Yeah. And
And that's so weird. That wasn't even that long ago. My new Chariot is treating me well. Drove down to Galway in it on Tuesday. Had a nice time with Aaron Butler. Here's the thing. It's an older model, but it's specced out. And I will never tire of saying the phrase specced out. How's your new car, mate? Specced out. I could have got so my car's at 2011. People are going, mate, that's old. Yes, mate. But at the same time, it's specced out. I could have got a 2015 one, same price. I looked at it. I phoned the guy up. I went, mate, what's the spec situation here? He says, no spec. I says, so it's not specced out? He goes, nah, probably couldn't describe it as specced out. I went, all right, I'll take a swerve on that, bro. Called the original guy. I said, mate, is that car there? Yep, still here. It's still specced out? Still specced out. All right. We're talking leather seats. We're talking sat-nav. We're talking Bluetooth. We're talking tires. We're talking roof rail that I'm never going to use. I don't think anyone here uses them. But yeah, Matthew, it's treating me well. I'm enjoying it. I hope you're not still driving that wee Fiat that I've seen before. Because, I'm selling the Passat. Matthew, buy the Passat off me. Make me an offer I can refuse. I'm selling the Passat, but I'm not selling it under my name because, not because there's anything wrong with it, but because I will definitely get weirdos coming to my door. You know, I'm like, do you want to see the car? No, mate, I just want to see your face and where you live. Okay. Glenn Joe says, will you be adding the podcast to your Wikipedia? Looks like some wee monkeys have been messing around on there. Yeah, my Wikipedia gets changed a lot. And, you know, it's just one of those things. I don't look at it. I don't check it. The facts may be right, they may be wrong. But at the same time, the world keeps turning. And the money keeps burning. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I shouldn't freestyle. That is not a question. That is a poster for tonight's gig in Mayo, and there's no point in me telling you guys about it because by the time you listen to this, it will already have happened. Giles Strutt says, good morning, Shane. Intrigued by this new podcast of yours. I expect to hear you slurping your wee cup of tea throughout the episode. My question is, what is your favourite non-touristy thing to do in the Big Apple? Never been to America myself, and it's definitely on the bucket list, but all the tourist-heavy attractions are a bit off-putting. Many thanks. Good luck with a new podcast. Big kiss. Well, hey, catch this. Yeah, Dan, have you been in New York?
Yeah.
Good spot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
It's a good spot. Some city, anyway. So I wouldn't rule out doing the touristy things because I think it's good to see it and do it. And there's nothing in New York that's time consuming because pretty much everything you're going to see is in Manhattan or just around it. So I would probably, if you don't want to go and see all the tourist things, I'd probably just do one big bus tour, you know, like the red buses. And that way you're sort of seeing everything. Plus, if there's an area you like the look of, and Giles, I think you'll like Greenwich Village, and we will leave it at that, my man. Because of the architecture, you know what I mean? And you can buy, I guess, like animal nitrate and all the masks you like. But yeah, yeah, I think doing that bus tour is cool because you can go, maybe I'll get off here, go see that. It kind of is touristy, but the High Line is the best thing I did. It's beside Chelsea Market. It's like a disused railway line above the city. So maybe like 40 feet above the city, and it's all converted into like a walkway with gardens up alongside it. And it's brilliant because you can like get a great wee aerial view of the city, and it's nice. It's just nice. I would do the Staten Island Ferry because you get to see the Statue of Liberty. You pass right in front of it, but don't go to the actual Statue of Liberty because it's shit. It is shit, like the actual Statue of Liberty. Don't go to a Brooklyn Nets game. I went to a Brooklyn Nets NBA basketball game, and it was dog shit. I think they maybe just decided to play on the day. I don't know if this was the team or just like a load of lads that have the key to the Barclays Centre, but it was good to see because I like NBA, and it was like a full like league game, but there was, I think that the Barclays Centre holds like 18,000. There was like 4,000 people there, and it was a Monday afternoon because it was a holiday out there. And if it wasn't for the DJ playing like the pump it up music, because like in between songs sometimes you just hear like the wee squelch of the court, and it was just sad. So don't go and do that. I got some more questions here. Okay, look, I've got a couple more questions. I'm going to rifle through them. Mary Barnes says, best or worst joke? Best or worst joke? Sometimes the worst jokes are the best jokes. And I'm trying to think of, okay, here's a bad joke that tickles me every time I tell someone it that has never heard it. How did I get out of Iran? Iraq. No, fuck it. I told it wrong. Okay, that is a good joke told in a bad way. So Dan, let me ask you this. How did I get out of Iraq? By the way, I'm a professional stand-up.
No idea.
Taxi. Yeah, that is how to get out of Iran. What's mad is I make my living doing stand-up. So come and see me, Waterfront Hall, 3rd of October. Tickets selling fast. Yeah, there you go. Fuck, it's all fun and games. Sarah Jane Dorman. Hello there. Which character do you enjoy doing the most? Dean Davidson, Lawrence Lyle, MC Beezer, or Mike McGoldrick? And do you prefer stand-up more than anything? Yes, I prefer stand-up more than anything. It gives you that instant buzz. You get the adrenaline rush from it. It's instant. There's something really scary about it because it might not go well. It might not work. So you have that element of danger about it. And you can't like redo it once it's done. Whereas when I'm doing the character stuff, you can retake, you can shoot something again. But I love doing the character stuff, or I wouldn't do it. My favourite character to do out of those people is Dean Davidson's very fun. Dean Davidson, fun to do. I should do more of it. I will in the near future. Karis Doak says, "Why the change of podcast? Why the nosy bitch? Why there's so many fucking questions?" I'm only joking, Karis or Charis. The change of podcast is just because I felt like the Shane Toddcast is... I felt like talking with tea is a way to just think about the listeners. We're all having a cup of tea listening to it. The Shane Toddcast just felt too much a wee bit about me. And like, if it only works maybe if you've seen me before. Whereas this, you don't need to know me to get into the podcast, kind of. I don't know, I just sometimes you got to change it up. You know, whenever I was younger, I used to have buck teeth. And then there came a point where I was like, let me see what happens if I don't have buck teeth. And hey, way better. Life is good. So yeah, Karis, I just fancied changing it up, doing something a bit new. And I think I like this. David May, don't know if that's the ex Man United defender, I don't think so, says, best or worst, this is the final question, best or worst interaction with a fan or someone who recognised you? Best was in Dubai. Or no, not in Dubai, in what do you call the city beside Dubai you can drive to? You been in Dubai?
No.
Abu Dhabi. When I was in Abu Dhabi, and do they have camels here? No, but the people of Abu Dhabi do. I was in the mosque doing a big tourist tour, and I'm wearing like chic robes, and I was walking about enjoying it, and it was like 99% like Muslim people, like very few tourists on that day, and I just heard across the mosque some guy went, "Shane, go ahead, big man." That was the best interaction, and also the worst because that guy got banned from the mosque after that, and I never saw him again. No, the worst fan interaction was a guy who wanted me to get on his shoulders for a photo outside the bot one night, and he was really drunk and I didn't want to, and he acted like I was the prick. So that was probably the worst one. I hardly have any bad fan interactions, but that was a bad one. Guys, put your tea down, go and have a biscuit. Thanks very much for listening to episode 1 of Tea with me, Shane Todd. I am playing the Waterfront on the 3rd of October with my brand new stand-up show, Somebody Told Me. Also check out the Belfast Blues online on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. It's a web series me and Aaron Butler have been doing that we've just finished by the time you've listened to this. Big thanks to Dan Quick for producing this podcast. We're going to be out every Wednesday where you get your podcasts, which is like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and we don't know on that where the main host one will be yet, do we? But
say
Anchor,
Stitcher,
Castbox, Lunchbox, all of the boxes. But yeah, cheers for listening. We're gonna make it a video thing in the next couple of weeks, and it's just gonna be a nice time. So I should think of a wee sign off line. Thanks for having tea with me. I don't know. No, I mean we'll think of something for next week. All right, cheers. Thanks for listening. Bye.